Hey, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Just like the Bible says, it's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said, it's what they warned of, it's what we're dealing with. They're demons.
And the satanic cult and coven that's hidden in this Christian church lives like a Christian. Okay, not every one of them, because I wasn't, and I know of a couple other who weren't.
Repent now. A Secretary of State that has had sex in giant vats of feces. They have sexual rituals, some of the most ancient Egyptian rituals, where they believe they are possessed by entities, basically space aliens.
The minions of the evil one can travel through telephone lines. They can travel through cable TV. They can travel through the internet into your computer.
Repent now.
I used to worship this guy, okay? And I don't know if you can see it well on my camera, but you can have a look at this one here, okay?
They're frickin' interdimensional invaders, okay? I'll just say it. Make fun of me all you want. Oh, God. I don't think I've ever laughed this hard on air. Oh, my
God. Hello, my friends. I know it's been a while since I did a video response to bunk-ass nonsense, but I am back and ready to get back to work. And what better way than with a Halloween debunk of our old friend David Carrico. All the links and references will be listed in the description box below. I also want to mention that I hold no animosity towards any of the people I respond to in my videos. The purpose of my video are to educate and to have a little fun while doing it. So without any more delay, let's get right into debunking Halloween myths.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dan Bondini Show, your October 13th, 2020 edition right here on 990wbob.com. So today we're going to dabble into Halloween, which is known historically as Samhain, spelled out Samhain, but Samhain.
No, Dan. As I will explain more throughout this video, Halloween and the modern celebration of Samhain are different holidays. American Halloween is a secular holiday based off the Catholic observation of the All-Holy Evening before All Souls Day. Modern Halloween, especially here in America, has evolved several folklore practices such as trick-or-treating and dressing in costumes.
David Carrico, he's an author, he's a researcher in the occult, secret societies, biblical. I mean, he's got tons of books out there, all amazing information. He's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. Been around for a while spreading lies and misinformation about pagans, witches, occultists, and Satanists. I wouldn't call him a researcher or even knowledgeable on the subject of the occult. Every book on the occult I have heard him speak on is misquoted and taken out of context. Let's see how David describes his ministry. Our counter-cult ministry is dedicated to exposing deeds of darkness and educating anyone interested about Bible doctrines, apologetics, topical Bible studies, cults, ritual abuse, the occult, false religions. Really, what makes a religion false, David? And secret societies such as Freemasonry. Freemasons are not a secret society. We offer many books, booklets, tracts, CDs, and DVDs, and we are available for ministry services such as personal speaking engagements or radio TV interviews on these topics. It's weird how all these occult experts sell merchandise. Well, he seems completely unbiased. I'm not seeing what makes David an expert on the occult.
Speaking historically, Halloween was actually outlawed here in America.
No. No, it was not, Dan. Halloween was not outlawed in America. In the early 19th century, some cities considered banning Halloween because of some dangerous pranks that were played on this night, but it was not outlawed.
A lot of people don't understand that or realize that. It didn't come into, Dave knows better than me, but...
No, he does not.
He didn't come here, Halloween, to the late 1800s. Early 1900s, that's when Halloween started coming here. So, actually, we got David on the phone right now, and this is David Carrico. He's from FOGCradio.com. So, David, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine, Brother Dan. I'm really honored to be on the broadcast with you. I'm looking forward to it. It's a much-needed topic.
A much-needed topic? What your listeners deserve is the truth, David, not your embellishments.
People, they celebrate this holiday. Well, I don't even call it holiday, but they celebrate this.
It is a holiday, as this term is used to describe days that are set apart. A holiday is a day set aside by custom or by law in which normal activities, especially business or work, including school, are suspended or reduced. Generally, holidays are intended to allow individuals to celebrate or commemorate an event or tradition of cultural or religious significance. Christians do not have the monopoly on this word.
Feasts, and they have no idea the historical significance of it, where it came from, the whole 9 yards. And
I think most Catholics know where All Hallows Eve comes from.
That's where you come in, brother. And again, David is like one of the best researchers ever. This guy's amazing. So take it away, David.
I still don't know why you think he is an expert on the occult. He is not.
All right, well, the Halloween holiday, and that is such an oxymoron.
You're an oxymoron.
Something that is a holiday is something that is to be holy and set apart for the Lord.
Halloween is a holiday, despite your desire to erase it from our culture simply because you don't like it. Well, tough luck, Jabba the Butt. There are many holidays observed in America, and one of them is the holiday of Halloween. So stick that in your pumpkin.
And this is something we could truly say is set apart for the false Lord, for the dark Lord.
No, Halloween, or All Hallows Eve, has nothing to do with your Zoroastrian-based primitive religion that personifies evil as an entity.
And the Halloween celebration as we have it today has its origin in the Gallic and the Celtic festival of Samhain.
That whole sentence was so wrong on so many levels that it actually made me physically ill. Let me correct the most egregious misconception first. Halloween traditions are more rooted in medieval Catholicism than pre-Christian Gaul. We don't know with 100% certainty that they celebrated a fall festival in Gaul, say around 50 BCE, known as Halloween. But I'm pretty confident in saying that no, they did not. Samhain, that many pagans and witches celebrate today, is based off what we have deduced our pre-Christian ancestors may have celebrated, but we don't know for sure. Modern-day pagans and witches draw from folklore, archaeology, and history to try and piece together how they may have observed this time. But I have yet to come across convincing evidence that a fall festival in, say, 50 BCE Gaul was observed by trick-or-treating, bobbing for apples, carving turnips, or dressing up as My Little Pony. By the way, it is not Celtic with a soft C, it is Celtic with a hard C.
And this festival was celebrated on October 31st to November 1st.
Which celebration? Samhain or Halloween? Halloween was not celebrated in ancient Gaul. There may have been a fall festival celebrated around this time, but again, we have very little information about when exactly or how, if it was, celebrated in Gaul. Later literature, especially from Ireland, described the Samhain season as being 3 days long, starting October 31st and ending around November 2nd.
And they would have a feast for the dead, and it was all about the dead.
Looking at folklore and history from pre-Christian Ireland, Samhain was associated with the otherworld, which was considered to be a spirit realm or fairy world that could be accessed at this time, as well as around May 1st or Beltane. Storytelling, feasting, and divination were associated with this season.
And in the Bible, the word Rephaim is translated giant, and it's also translated as dead. And it shows the roots of this in the Nephilim religion.
Whatever. Halloween or Samhain has nothing to do with the Christian mythology of the Nephilim. The word Nephilim can be traced back to ancient Hebrew and is translated as the fallen one or giants.
And we could even talk also, another bunny trail is the Gallic people themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they were heavily infiltrated Nephilim people in their bloodline.
No, David. No, they were not. Not sure where you are getting this, but, no.
When they fought Julius Caesar in the Gallic Wars, many of the Roman historians wrote about the Gallic people. And they were the tallest people in the world, according to many of the Roman historians.
The Gauls were taller than the average Roman, but they were not unnaturally tall, and they weren't giants. The average Iron Age Celt was around 5'6", 5'7".
And when they would fight with their horsemen, they would be completely nude, and they would have long flowing hair with painted bodies, and I guess they were quite a horrifying spectacle.
Are you thinking of the Picts? The northern tribes of what we now call Scotland were said to have painted themselves with blue woad. Some warriors were known for fighting naked, but again, this is from a second-hand source. They may have been men looking to move up in ranks and had little or no armor and fought with whatever weapon they had.
But when the Gallic people moved from France and the European areas to the British Islands, they became known as the Druids.
What? The Druids were not a tribe. We know very little about the Druids, but during this time, 5850 BCE, there were Druids in Gaul. Pliny and Caesar both mentioned them. The Druids were a higher caste in the various Gallic tribes. They were not a race of people. See, this picture right here is just all wrong. First off, Stonehenge existed way before the Druids came to Britain. Druids in white robes is from one description of a scene by Pliny where a Druid in white robes was said to cut a sprig of mistletoe with a golden sickle.
And this festival of Samhain...
Not Sam Hain. This isn't Glenn Danzig's band. It's pronounced Samhain.
Was all about the dead, and it propagated their Rephaim, Nephilim religion, and they would have banquets, and they would have food and drink, and they would invite the souls of their lost loved ones to come and feast with them.
You are bouncing around a lot and conflating time periods. If you are talking about ancient Gaul, we do not know if they celebrated this time of year, and if they did, how they observed it. However, if you are talking about pre-Christian Ireland, most of the tales are encounters with otherworldly beings. And finally, the Gallic tribes have zero connection to your Nephilim creative writing exercise.
And they would leave empty chairs at the table for, their different relatives, and they would invoke the dead.
Okay, so you are referencing how some pagans and witches observe Samhain today. I don't believe the pre-Christian Irish are setting empty chairs for their lost loved ones.
And it was the belief that at this time that there were doorways open to the other world, and the spirits would cross over.
Hey, you got something right.
And what they would do what was called mumming and guising. And people would dress up, and they would go from door to door, and they would recite rhymes and do a little entertainment or something to amuse the people, and they would reward them with food.
Okay, so now you are jumping ahead almost 1,200 years. Souling was first mentioned in 1380 England. In Britain, the alms took the form not of cash for candles, but cake. Bands of soulers went from house to house singing ancient souling rhymes, and small loaves, quick breads, or cakes were handed out to them to be eaten hot while saying a prayer for the departed. Even after the Reformation, when prayers were officially no longer thought necessary to ease the passage of souls to heaven, the idea that giving and receiving of food by the living somehow benefited or pleased the dead persisted, for souling continued, although the souling rhymes became straight begging songs. The medieval preacher John Merck mentions this tradition of souling in a sermon from around 1380.
And this is the basic the historical context that has evolved into the modern Halloween celebration. It's all 100% pagan.
No, it is an evolution of the merging of several traditions, some based on early folklore, others adapted and adopted by Catholics.
It is all 100% demonic.
No, it is not. It may be your opinion that Halloween is demonic, but your opinion is wrong and malformed.
And it is tied so much, and I know you're familiar with this, Dan, and it's something that we've dealt with for many decades. the issue of satanic ritual abuse and ritual sacrifice of children. And this has a long historical association with the Samhain festival.
It is pronounced Samhain. You can even look it up and learn how to pronounce it correctly. Satanic ritual abuse is pure bullshit. There is not a satanic cult running around killing people. This is an obvious lie based off of Christian fear. All the cases of alleged satanic murder have all been proven false. If you would like to learn more, I suggest reading Kenneth Lanning's FBI report linked below. If you have knowledge of a murder, a kidnapping, or any criminal act, you must report this information to your local authorities as soon as possible. Accusing anyone of a horrendous crime such as this on the internet is just criminally negligent. This abusive and destructive misinformation campaign driven by the likes of you and Russ Dizdar are irresponsible. Stop it.
And there was an old book that was written. It is called the Labar Gabbalah. And it means the book of invasions, literally, when our earth is invaded by these dark spirits.
And I am probably going to butcher this, so my apologies to all my Irish listeners. Here it goes. Gabal na Éireann is the book of invasions to Ireland. It tells of 6 waves of invasions on the shore of Ireland. It doesn't have anything to do with an invasion on Earth by dark spirits.
And in this book, the Labar Gabbalah, there was a little town called Nemed, and every Samhain.
Oh my God, you are killing me, David. You know what? Let's find out how to pronounce Samhain, shall we, David? Now, please, watch closely. We'll do a simple Google search.
Samhain. Samhain. Samhain.
The people in Nemed, they would have to give 2/3 of their children and 2/3 of their milk and corn to these devils that would come up called the Fomorians.
You are a little confused. Nemed was not a town. Nemed is the name given to the 3rd wave of people to invade Ireland. In this myth, the Nemedians were cruelly taxed by the Fomorians. The Fomorians were another mysterious race that came to Ireland. They were taxed of 2/3 of cream, wheat, and butter. In some versions, the Fomorians demand 2/3 of the Nemedian children to be delivered on Samhain.
Now, what's interesting for those also, and I know, Dan, you're familiar with Freemasonry.
Yep.
And if you take 2/3 of something, what do you have left? You have 33%,
Yep.
don't you?
No, you would have 33.3% repeating, or rounded up as 34%. 3 has always been a staple in almost all mythologies. This tale has nothing to do with the Freemasons, or even 33 for that matter.
And all of this symbolism and all of this occult lore are interbred into this Halloween festival. It's just thoroughly and intricately occult.
David, the Book of Invasions has nothing to do with the occult. People who study the occult may incorporate these mythologies into their practice, but that would be the only connection.
And these, in this one Samhain story
Samhain.
of the Labar Gabbalah, they had to give their children.
In some versions of this tale from Irish mythology, 2/3 were given as tax, most likely implied as slaves. David, you do realize this is mythology, right? It's not real, and it did not take place.
And of course, this is the concept of the ritual sacrifice of children that is a part of the Nephilim religion, intricately timed specifically with this time, when this is the time when you have to do it.
What? David, this has nothing to do with your Christian mythology of the Nephilim or any Nephilim religion, whatever the hell that is. The tale is obviously conveying that the demands placed on the Nemedians from the Fomorians was outrageous and cruel, reinforcing how the Fomorians were evil and malicious, even being described as monstrous and hideous in nature.
And this Halloween and every Halloween, there will be many, many children that will be sacrificed to Satan.
Bull fucking shit, David. You are spreading this blatant lie and fear-mongering to Dan's audience. This is the same trash peddled by you and your ilk during the satanic panic of the 90s. None of it was true then, and none of it is true now. If there was any evidence of this, you would be giving it. If there was any conviction of a satanic cult committing human sacrifice on Halloween, you would be citing it. But there is none. This nonsense just gets passed along without question or research.
And while the church is making light of it, and they're doing their trunk and treat festivals and dressing up like devils, there will be innocent children dying in sacrifice unto Satan.
Bullshit. This is pure fear-mongering.
Look how many kids go missing a year in this country alone, and thousands that are never recovered. It's crazy.
800,000 per year is a lot. Even one missing child is too much in my opinion. Let's break this number down. Luckily, most of these children are recovered safely. 99% of reported missing children come home. The Polly Klaas Foundation estimates that 99.8% do come home. Nearly 90% of missing children have simply misunderstood directions or miscommunicated their plans, are lost, or have run away. 9% are kidnapped by family members in a custody dispute. 3% are abducted by non-family members, usually during the commission of a crime such as robbery or sexual assault. The kidnapper is often someone the child knows. Only about 100 children, a fraction of 1%, are kidnapped each year in a stereotypical stranger abduction you hear about in the news. About half of these 100 children come home. Even one missing child is too many. 800,000 are reported, but of that number, a very small fraction are actually abducted.
And you know, this is a industry. Pedophilia is an industry. We get a glimpse of that when we have someone like Jeffrey Epstein, and we get a little glimpse into his world and how these people operate. But it's a multi-billion-dollar kiddie porn industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar child trafficking. And this Halloween is right at the root of it.
Not sure why we are talking about Jeffrey Epstein or child pornography, as this has nothing to do with Halloween. None of the websites I visited mentioned anything about Halloween abductions or satanic cults. If this was a legitimate concern, they would have listed it. You are obviously throwing this into the mix, hoping to create some guilt by association, where the facts and statistics do not support your claims. Sadly, child trafficking and abuse is real, but we don't need alarmists like you throwing in unsubstantiated claims to support your anti-religious bigotry. This detracts resources and attention away from real danger and real abuse. Stop spreading hateful misconceptions.
And it goes back, it's just the history and the mythology is just steeped in ritual child sacrifice.
No, it is not. You've desperately tried to create some association through mythology. If you had any better evidence, you would be providing it. The fact that you have to reach back into legend to support your assertion is absurd.
And in ancient Ireland, they had an idol called the Crom Cúrach. And in this, another one of the Irish books, at the to Crom Cúrach, every Samhain, they would sacrifice the firstborn child upon a large stone.
Another tale from mythology? Are you going to be providing us with any facts based in reality, David?
Under the god Crom Cúrach. And it's just totally steeped in Satanism, child sacrifice. And the amazing thing is that it was taken by the Catholic Church.
What was taken by the Catholic Church?
And the Catholic Church, they paganized Passover, and they called it Easter. They paganized the birth of Christ, and they called it Christmas. And they paganized Samhain,
Samhain,
and they called it All Souls Day.
They did not paganize All Hallows Eve. If anything, they placed this holiday in competition with the Samhain festival. On May 13th, 609 AD, Pope Boniface IV dedicated the Pantheon in Rome in honor of all Christian martyrs, and the Catholic feast of All Martyrs' Day was established in the Western Church. Pope Gregory III, from 731 to 741, later expanded the festival to include all saints as well as all martyrs and moved the observance from May 13th to November 1st. By the 9th century, the influence of Christianity had spread into Celtic lands, where it gradually blended with and supplanted the older Celtic rite. In 1000 AD, the Church would make November 2nd All Souls' Day, a day to honor the dead. It is widely believed today that the Church was attempting to replace the Celtic Festival of the Dead with a related but church-sanctioned holiday. All Souls' Day was celebrated similarly to Samhain, with big bonfires, parades, and dressing up in costumes as saints, angels, and devils. The Saints' Day celebration was also called All Hallows or All Hallow Mass, from Middle English All Hallow Mass, meaning All Saints' Day. And the night before it, the traditional night of Samhain in the Celtic religion, began to be called All Hallows Eve, and eventually Halloween.
And All Souls' Day is celebrated in Catholicism and some of the other high church traditions on November 1st. And in this, the Samhain festival,
Samhain,
it was just a small step from believing the spirits would come to eat with them and feast with them unto imitating the spirits and doing pranks.
No, and I have no idea where you got this from.
And pranks and acts of violence have become associated with Halloween, and this goes way back to Scotland in the 1700s, when every Halloween was a time to do pranks. And I know with us, gosh, we would, when we were a kid, boy, we would go soap windows and...
Pranks are still a part of Halloween. However, the pranks have gotten less dangerous and more fun, rather than leaving a farmer's gate open so that sheep could get out.
Toilet paper houses, and sometimes things even a little worse than that we would do that weren't very nice. But that was the thing to do. It was Halloween, and it was time to do the pranks. And, you know, this is just the spirit of the evil one.
No, it's just fun. You do know what fun is, right, David?
That incites all of this. It's a total satanic spirit.
No, it is not.
No, you know, I mean, like, then you got all, like, the little traditions, like the trick-or-treat thing. That's where the rhymes come from. Then you got the bobbing for apples, and people don't understand why that's crazy stuff, the history of that. And, you know, all these so-called innocent things that, the traditions they do on Halloween and the parties and all that. If people was to understand where these things come from, it involves a lot of death with children and everything else. I'm sure you got tons more information on that stuff, and people would think twice before doing these things.
Yeah, and on our Halloween track, we address almost all of these things. And I'll read here from our track on bobbing for apples, which you mentioned, and dunking for apples came from the old practice of divining the future. The participant who successfully clenched an apple between his teeth could count on a fulfilling romance with the lover of his choice.
Well, David, you sort of got it right, but much better than your friend's Doc Marquis, who believes that the Gauls bobbed for apples in boiling mead, or your good old perverted friend, Mr. Bill Snuffleupagus, who thinks that bobbing for apples was actually bobbing for baby skulls in mead, both of which are very wrong. I am happy that you got it right. Well, sort of. There were several variations of a game. In one set of rules, each apple was assigned to a potential mate. The bobber would then attempt to bite into the apple named for the young man she desired. If it only took her one try, they were destined for romance. If she succeeded with her second attempt, he would court her, but their love would fade.
In the book of Exodus, it says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Now, I'm not saying, and I have to clarify this, that I'm going to go out and kill a witch
Well, I'm so comforted by that. I am glad you are not calling for the murder of innocent people. That's very big of you.
Physically, but
I'm sorry, did you follow that up with a but? You are not calling for the murder of witches, but.
But I will say that the Lord will at the judgment day.
Yeah, well, I'll take my chances with him after a good, long, healthy life and a natural death, and not being burned at the stake for holding different beliefs from your own.
Do you smoke?
Guess we'll find out soon enough.
Now, why would a parent encourage their daughter to dress up like a witch if this is an abomination to God, that if she should participate in this, it could damn her soul eternally?
Oh, give me a fucking break. Just because someone dresses as a witch on Halloween, they're damning their soul to hell for eternity? I don't think this has the appeal that you think it does. If God is going to damn my soul for eternity for dressing up as a witch, what kind of a loving God is that? You know what? I think I'll take my chances.
It is just so ridiculous that we shouldn't have to say anything about this, but we do. Because, I mean, it's insane.
Exactly. I agree with you. It is insane. Killing another human being because they have a different belief than your own is insane and barbaric.
And, you know, witchcraft, if you participate in witchcraft, you're damn your soul. So I think I'll get my kids some Harry Potter books. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll get them some Harry Potter books and DVDs. And it's almost like they'd be proud of their children if they become a witch. You know, it's insane.
I'd like to think my parents are proud of me. Maybe not because I am a witch, but instead because I am not some lying psychopath that has to demonize others for their beliefs simply because they are different from my own. The only thing that could make this any worse would be if I come onto YouTube and shared these unsubstantiated lies for thousands of people to see. At least I'm not that kind of a person.
You know, the worst thing a person could do would...
to spread unsubstantiated lies about other people?
To say, my goodness, that it would be wrong to be a homosexual.
Whoa, that took a hard left turn from witches to the homosexuals.
Homosexual.
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 That's what I said.
For a sin. That is the worst thing you could do. And my goodness, there are people who lose their jobs for saying that.
Yeah.
And it's upside down.
It's almost as if people get really annoyed by having their lifestyle labeled a sin by other people who also then discriminate against them because of it. Weird. Let me see if I can appeal to your sense of empathy, assuming you have any. What if being a Christian was considered a sin and that you would burn for eternity in a lake of fire? How would that make you feel? Anything getting through to you? David? Anything?
Historically, Halloween was heavily outlawed in this country, and
Dan, Halloween was never outlawed in this country. Some cities contemplated banning it because of pranks that became popular around it, but it was the pranks they wanted to prevent, not the holiday itself. And if you want to argue the Puritans didn't celebrate it, well, duh. The Puritans didn't celebrate anything. They were Puritans. Thus the name. Puritans.
when and where and how did Halloween actually get accepted into the churches here in America, and where did this all, I mean, who brought this up, which I think is a Catholic church, and I mean, how did this all come upon to be accepted here in America?
And as you said, the All Souls Day, which took November 1st as the Roman Catholic Samhain, if you will. And when they started the ball rolling, many others have followed suit.
What? There was no Roman Catholic Samhain. Who started the ball rolling? The Roman Catholics? Who followed suit? You are seriously confused, David. The Catholic Church may have been competing with the folklore traditions of Samhain, thus why they moved the holiday from May 13th to November the 1st.
And now, even your most conservative Pentecostal denominations, your Baptists that one time would stand against such nonsense, they just follow along. And, you know, there's no restraint anymore. It's like the brakes are off.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy nonsense that you see...
the crazy nonsense like dressing up as witches?
It's just wide open. And it just gets crazier and crazier every year.
Soon they'll be bobbing for apples and fornicating and engaging in homosexual activity.
And it's just a runaway train. And that train is running down the tracks right into the pit of hell.
So basically, All Saints Day is what got the whole ball rolling, like you said, in this country to open up the doors for other things like Halloween, Christmas, Easter, all the other garbage.
Other garbage like Halloween? This whole video is on Halloween. I'm pretty sure the Catholic Church was celebrating Easter before Christmas and way before All Hallows Eve.
Halloween is a Catholic paganized tradition. And think about what they do in Catholicism. They will honor the dead saints, and they will pray to the dead saints. And this is what the Druidic festival of Samhain was all about.
Samhain.
They would set the table, and they would put the chairs there for whatever dead people they wanted to come and eat with them, you know. And the same thing in Catholicism.
No, not sure if the Druids prayed to their deceased relatives or set chairs out for them. This was a folklore tradition that seems to have become popular after the time of the Druids.
And, you know, they pray to the saints, you know, and this is the exact theology of Samhain.
Samhain.
And, you know, as you said, there was a time when these things were illegal, and the Puritans, they stood against the celebration of Christmas, and it was illegal in some of the early colonies because of the Puritan influence.
As everybody's going out trick-or-treating, hooting and hollering, there's children being slayed and sacrifice rituals and God knows what else they're doing to the kids.
No, they are not. If someone is committing murder and you know about it, report it to the proper authorities. Modern-day witches, pagans, druids, and Satanists are not sacrificing anyone at Halloween. And if some wannabe Richard Ramirez psychopath carves a pentagram into a dead body, that doesn't mean it was some occultic murder. I'll post a link to the 1988 FBI report by Kenneth Lanning below.
Like the bonfires, you know, the bonfires they call them now. All these little things, the Wicker Man, you know, they put the kids in the giant Wicker Man and burn them alive and with the effigies and everything else. And
good God. No, no, and fuck no. No one is putting children in a wicker man and burning them on Halloween. You were thinking of a supposed ancient Gallic practice which was supposedly observed by Julius Caesar as he was conquering Gaul. However, this was most likely an exaggeration or purely fabricated for propaganda purposes.
The Celtic rituals, I mean, all over the world they have different types, and the barbaric and disgusting stuff that goes on these this festival called Samhain.
Samhain.
It's insane. It's disgusting.
I'm starting to think you are a big fan of this holiday, Dan.
In our Halloween track, which, once again, it's free for anyone that would go to FOJCradio.com, go to our Hot Topics page, download it, recopy it, spread it around, do whatever you want to with it. It's free.
Where are you getting all of this bad information from anyways? Oh.
Talking about the bonfires, or like you said, the bonfires in our track, it says this. The bonfires were used to burn the sacrifices as the celebrants danced and screamed around them in drunken, demonized fits of orgiastic abandon. The next day after the fires die down, all that is left is the ashes and bones of the sacrifice. The people call them bonfires.
The term bonfires from the late 15th century. There is no evidence that there was drunken ecstatic orgies where sacrifices were burned at Samhain in either 50s BCE Gaul or later Irish Samhain festivals. I have no idea where you are getting this from.
Also, we have in there about the jack-o'-lanterns and the trick-or-treats and, everything. There is no Halloween tradition that you cannot historically connect to this pagan demonic reveling. Our tract says this about the jack-o'-lantern. On Samhain, around midnight, the Druids dressed in hooded robes seemingly appeared from nowhere among the celebration bonfires with a hollowed-out turnip and with an oil lamp burning inside. Carved into the side of the hollowed turnip is a hideous face, the likeness of the demon spirit that dwells inside. Now, isn't that a happy thought?
Happy thought? How the hell did they get an oil lamp into a turnip more than 2,000 years ago? That's what I want to know.
That this was the belief that there's a demon inside of the pumpkin, a spirit. And, these jack-o'-lanterns are demon magnets.
Wait, I thought you said demon into it.
This was the belief that there's a demon inside of the pumpkin.
So now you are saying they were actually demon magnets? Well, I have no idea where you got this, but it is very, very wrong. In the early 19th to 18th century, in some Irish traditions, they would carve faces into beets or turnips. But this was not done during the time of the Druids.
It's like here, demon, we've made you a little home. Here, you can come live here. We'll put you in our porch. It's crazy. But going on, it says, what, Dan? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I say it is. And just to think that people put this in children's windows, in the houses, not having any clue what the heck they're doing on their doorsteps, it's unreal.
Going on our track, it says, the spirit is the Druid's spirit guide. Oh, my. His personal little god who directs and empowers his life. As the Druids pass by, children cling to their parents as the parents wish they would truly pass by. But alas, they stop and the parents open the door with trembling hands. The Druids demand certain foods as they adhere to strange dietary restrictions. If the people comply, they pass by. If their demands are not met, the people and their homes are cursed with trouble, sickness, and...
That's all bullshit. It's written in a fictional first-person point of view. Who the hell recorded this 2,000 years ago? And what are you oh-mine about? There is no record of Druids carving turnips for a fall season, and they did not believe that a little personal god or spirit guide lived in them. Druids did not go house to house demanding food, and there is absolutely no record of Druids adhering to some strange dietary restrictions. And finally, there are no records of Druids then cursing homes with sickness if their demands were not met. Where are you getting this absolute bullshit?
Just will not. And there will be a payday for it. There is a God. He is a holy God. And one day he will hold judgment. And those that choose to turn to the things of the evil one, you're going to have a payday for it, rest assured.
Yeah, well, he is God. So I'll take my chances. But before then, I will live my life the way I want. So piss off.
To entice people to dabble into this more. And, by November, how many people are going to be practicing witchcraft now? It's sickening.
Yep, witches are all over the internet, TV, newspapers, and radio trying to recruit people. Sometimes you'll see witches on street corners selling literature and trying to recruit people. Oh, wait, those are Christians. Witches aren't trying to convert anyone.
Yeah, that really is. And the idea that Halloween is anything but thoroughly satanic and evil cannot be intellectually argued.
Yes, it can be, and I have. Yeah, well, David, you can do whatever you like. It's your life. So do me a favor, let God judge me, and in the meantime, I'm going to celebrate Halloween.
The facts are the facts, and the history is the history. It is totally pagan. Now, that being said, it's not a matter of us getting on here, and you could bring fact after fact after fact to show that bobbing for apples, all of it is satanic and pagan.
Absolutely.
the point is, what are you, the listener that professes faith in Jesus Christ, going to do? Are you going to repent and be obedient to the Father and separate? Or are you going to continue to support a religious system that will promote as good the things of Satan? So really, this is it.
Absolutely.
Are we going to repent, or are we going to obey? And for those...
Yeah, well, David, you can do whatever you like. It's your life. So do me a favor. Let God judge me, and in the meantime, I'll celebrate Halloween. I'm going to enjoy it. I'll dress up like a vampire. Go away, Bill. I'll carve pumpkins, and I will treat others with acceptance and respect, regardless of whether they are a homosexual or a fornicator. David, I hope one day you will do the same.
And all the links, folks, are right in the link descriptions. We're going to post on YouTube later on.
I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in hell, you heathens.
911, what's your emergency?
There are demon worshippers in a cul-de-sac.
Are you in immediate danger?
I think so.
Okay, what is the threat?
There's a man pulling dead squirrels out of his hat.
How is that a threat?
The kids are singing devil songs, whacking a horse effigy. Oh, Lord, they're eating what came out of his head.
Ma'am, do you see any party streamers?
Yes.
Do you see a cake?
You mean a pagan pastry? I do.
That is a child's birthday party. Ma'am?
I'd like to report a hate crime.
Ha 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 ha!